Hi guys, my name is Allie. I'm making the video here to help you guys with creating your own SVGs or water slides and the programs in which to do those. So the first program that we're going to go over is Inkscape. So to download Inkscape, go to your internet browser. It's inkscape.org. Here you click the download current version and download it for your Windows or Mac, whichever. Follow the steps. Once that's downloaded, open your program. You can click on File, Open, and we're going to search for the image that we want to create into an SVG. So once we have went through all the proper steps in Inkscape, when we are finished and we save it, we will be able to take it right over to your Design Space or Cameo Silhouette program, and it will already be converted to an SVG. There will be no converting it, no removing the background, none of that stuff that you normally have went through to upload your images. So this program allows us to completely convert it and manipulate the image if we need to. And we'll go over more complex images and the easier black and white images. So once you install the program, open up your photo. You can always just use your default upload settings here because it's going to convert the file for you because it's embedded. Always just leave it. You can even click don't ask again, and it will always minimize the screen like this. Just make it big again. Now we're going to go over, before we start actually converting, let's go over some quick keystrokes that will help you along the way. So right now this image is very large, and when I go to try to convert it, it's going to take up the whole screen and it's going to be in my way. So I want to scale the image down, and Inkscape uses all keyboard shortcuts. So, and it sounds very confusing, but it's not. The main keyboard shortcut you're going to use is your left control button. So in order to scale this image, we can just use the arrows like this, but as you see, it can distort the image and make it not, make it wider or taller instead of downsizing or upsizing the whole image as one. So I'm going to undo what I just did there, and I'm going to hold Control and then move the image up or down, and it does it as a whole image. So it doesn't distort it, it doesn't make it out of scale, it just downsizes or upsizes as if you were in Design Space and not unlocking the image or locking the image. So always just use your control button to scale your image. So just hold down Control, scale it, and then you can move it around very easily that way, so it's not taking up the whole screen. Now once we've made it small enough to where we can actually see the image on the screen, you can also unclick off of the image anywhere around in the white using your control button again and your mouse wheel. You can scroll out or scroll in. So there's a ton of working space, as you can see, in Inkscape. You can work anywhere within this, but when it comes time to save your image, and this is a pretty big important step, because what will happen is if I was to take this cat and stick him way over here outside of this box that is our actual workspace, whenever I upload this into Design Space, my cat will be disappeared. And what will happen is I will have to physically go up to the coordinates in Design Space and reposition it, because it will be off of the screen, off in Mars. So always make sure that when you save your image at the very end, it is always inside this box. Therefore it doesn't get lost and you're not wondering, oh, what happened, did I do something wrong? I have actually done that, and I've been using this program for a very long time. So it is a mistake that is easily made. So I'm going to put my little cat back over here in my box, and now we're going to create the SVG. So once we have our simple image, now this is going to be for a simple black and white image. They are the easiest to convert. We're just going to click on our image and go to Path, Trace Bitmap, or you can right click on the image and trace bitmap. Once we have the trace bitmap box open, make sure that you're still clicked on your image. You can still at this point click or unclick, so always make sure you're clicked on your image, it's highlighted. And I always use the brightness steps, and the reason that I use this is it will do multiple scans. As you see over here, it's a default of 8 scans. I like this because sometimes your single scan, which are these first 3 options, do not give you enough detail. Sometimes with this image, it doesn't matter what I use, but with other images, sometimes you need those multiple scans to figure out which scan works the best. So, but like I said, I always just do brightness, and what I do is if it is a simple image, I'll bring it down to 2 scans. And then I have my original here, and then as you can see, this is like a little bit of a lighter gray color. And these are my scans. So at this point, I have 2 scanned copies, meaning there's two scans stacked on top of each other in a group. If I save this just like this and take it over to Design Space, what's going to happen is whenever you upload it over in your layers panel, you will see all the scans, whether it's 2 scans or 8 scans. You will have all those separate scans, and your Cricut will try to cut out each layer. So that's not what we want. So we're going to right click on the image, we're going to ungroup the scans, click back off, and then we can pull and separate these. And then, because you can barely see them, I'm going to change their colors here so we can have an idea of each one in all different colors. So again, it's a black and white image. Any of these will work just fine. Super simple. You know, pick which one you like the best, and always make sure that you are getting rid of the original image. So in order, a quick and easy way to make sure that you're not deleting your actual vector images and you're actually only deleting your PNG image is to click on it and see if you can change the color. So obviously I'm clicking all these colors and my cat up here is not changing. So I know that this is not my created file, my created image. This is the original. So I need to get rid of him. Now I'm left with these 2 images. I can pick whichever one that I think looks best. And he is ready to be saved if I want to keep him right here at this stage. You can pick whichever color you want. Whatever you pick is what it's going to show in Design Space. Obviously, then you can change it there as well to any color you want on your screen, and then it really doesn't matter unless you're printing and cutting, because then it goes back to your vinyl. So, but you can change colors in Inkscape to kind of help you out. Now, if I wanted this to become a layered file, say I want him to be colored, I can go ahead and do that process right here without doing anything different. So no matter if you're making a single color scan image, or if you're wanting to do a layered image, you still have to do those steps that we just went through. So in order to make him have coloring, I'm gonna put him back to black and then unclick off of him, and we're gonna go over here and click our paint bucket. And always make sure whenever you are wanting to do a layered color options, you need to double check up here under grow shrink by. This should be just set at 0, and if you want to make it a little bit bigger, which means when I zoom in here by holding control in my mouse wheel and I click inside this, you can see there's just a little bit of white, so that's set at 0. I'm gonna click over here on my single cursor arrow and move out that colored portion that I just did and redo it. So I'm going to click my paint bucket. Let me choose a different color down here so you guys can see it easy. And let's raise this up to, let's say, 1. And it completely fills it in. So it really, that's your call on what you want. Either way, the way that I like to do my layering that makes it very easy for the user or myself, I sell SVGs. So my whole goal is to make layering super easy for people. And if I was to do an image like this where you weed out the inside of this little ear and then you cut this other color, you would have to try to make sure and get it perfectly lined up just so. Otherwise you'd see, you know, this white or whatever color shirt or backing, whatever. So I prevent this from happening, and we will get to that. So honestly, when it comes to filling in the coloring areas, this is just your preference. I typically keep my paint bucket set on 0.20, which isn't even really much bigger than the zeros. So let's go ahead and fill him in as if I wanted him to be layered. So we'll do pink ears, and then we can do, I don't know, a tannish color face here, or fur. And then we'll do another pink. No, that don't look good, does it? Okay, we'll leave that one white. Pink tongue. Okay, now the one downside to Inkscape is whenever you want to color something in white, you can't tell it's white like you can over in Design Space. It'll give you that little blackish outline around your white images so that you can actually see them. Inkscape does not do that. So I typically make my white color yellow while I'm doing my converting, and then right before I save it for it to be completely finished, I will change it to white just so that I can see them. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it yellow so I can actually see what I'm doing. Okay, so now we have all of our colors. Back to what I was saying before about not wanting to have to make sure this thing is perfectly lined up. The next step that we can do is we will click on the black, so the main original image, go to Path, Break Apart, and then without clicking anything, we'll go right back to Path, Union. Now what that did was it took away all those places that we were going to weed out. So let's do undo, move all those pieces back where they were supposed to be. Okay, now right now we can take this and just highlight everything, go to Object, Group, and there we go. She's ready. Let me ungroup it. You can right click and ungroup, and let me zoom in here and change all these yellow pieces to white like I said I was going to do. Now you can select multiple places and highlight highlight multiple things and do one color or the color all at once by holding down Shift. So I can click this, hold down Shift while clicking, and it will highlight all these places, and then I can just pick my color all at one time, therefore it's a little faster. So highlight everything again, right click and group them together, and there's our little layered cat. So now we're going to go File, Save As. I'm going to rename it to Cat, and save. Go over to Cricut. The reason I will not download the desktop version, if anybody is wondering, it is because when you download the desktop version, all of your previous projects are no longer in the desktop version. So everything, like if you've been using Design Space for a few years, everything that you have uploaded, your images, your projects will be there. Well, actually, I take that back. Some of my projects have not been there, but more so your images. So when you upload, and see, I have all, let's go, I have all these just tons and tons of images that I have uploaded. And when I do this on the desktop version, my images from a long time ago that I uploaded are no longer there. So it saved, I guess the cloud is what they're calling it. It saved all the images that I did before the desktop version became available. All those are always there. But then when I uploaded images on the desktop version, those images were the only ones available on the desktop version. So I totally uninstalled the desktop version. I do not like it. That's just why. So whenever we're over here in our design space, just go to upload. We're going to upload image, same thing as if you were going to convert it here. And as you can see right here, this is the original image that we actually used to create the SVG. And the way that you know that this is a SVG is it shows the internet browser via Internet Explorer. This is Chrome, Google, so you can just open it, and there she is right there, already made as your SVG and totally ready for you. We're going to save her, upload her into the image, and there she is, and there's all the pieces. So if we were to ungroup it and move all these pieces away, these are your layers. So let me upload it again because I don't feel like moving all those pieces back. One thing that we did not do over in Inkscape was group the pieces so that when we go to make it, they're not all jumbled up like this. Now you can do that over in Inkscape, but I find that a lot of people they lose the pieces. So you can just group it here, just while holding shift, click all your white. Oh, I gotta ungroup the whole thing, don't I? Group all your white and attach them, and then your pink and attach them, and then your brown and attach them. And then whenever you go over here, they're right where you need them to be. Now typically I would not do the pink this way because you're going to lose a ton of vinyl right there, but the white is so close you would want to keep that unless you like putting down every layer. But this makes it to where all you have to do is have your black layer, and then you just put your white, pink, and tan on top without having to worry about the little lines. And if you move the ear over just a smidge this way, it doesn't mess up the whole design. You can't tell that it's in the incorrect spot. See, I moved this all the way over to the left, and it still looks fine, but yet the original placement was dead in the center. So if you mess up just a little bit with the placement, and your vinyl does shrink with heat transfer, so as you're doing layers, your vinyl will shrink up on you, and therefore, like if we were to do this cat just like this with the black, and we put the black down and we had to weed out the eyes and then decide to go back in, like if we were putting this on, say, a green shirt, because the black would shrink away from how big I just filled in the eyes with, then you would actually have that little tiny bit of green shirt showing. Doing it this way means you can, mess it up a little bit in terms of centering. You can have that shrinkage with your heat transfer, and it's not going to be noticeable. So honestly, I prefer to do my layered images like this. So, okay, that is how to do a simple SVG and make it from a single cut color to as many layers as you want. Now we're going to get into more of a detailed, harder image to create. So let's start all over.